And welcome to a new lesson. In today's lesson, we are going to be covering the Revolve and Thicken tools. You'll find that these tools become very useful to you along your CREO career. So let's get started. Okay, let's start by opening up CREO. This lesson is all about getting you used to the Revolve tool and the Thicken tool. Okay, let's full screen CREO. As always, every time we start a new working session, let's set our working directory. Back to my D drive, CREO tutorials, and we're going to start a new folder for lesson 2. Let's call this Revolve and Thicken. Okay, back out of there, right click on that, set working directory, great. And let's start a new part, and let's just call this Revolve for simplicity, and okay. We're now back into our workspace. You'll find the Revolve tool up in your Shapes tab in the toolbar here. There are two ways that you can start to use the Revolve tool. One is that you can predefine a sketch and then select that sketch to be revolved. Or second, you can start by using the Revolve tool and define that sketch within the Revolve tool, as well as the axis that that sketch will be revolved around. Let's start by directly using the Revolve tool. Select it, and now you'll see at the bottom left of your screen that we now need to select a plane or a planar surface as the sketching plane, or select a sketch. So let's just choose the front plane here, and now you'll see we've automatically been put back into our sketch mode. Let's orientate our view as normal. Now the key difference between a normal sketch and a revolve sketch is that the center lines that we'll be using are defined as the axis by which this sketch is going to be revolved. So whereas usually we'd want to centerline both of our axes, in this case we're only going to centerline one axis. For example, let's say I want to revolve this rectangle. I'm then going to choose the centerline tool to add a centerline to this axis here. Okay, and let's see what happens when we accept this sketch. Okay, you'll see that that rectangle has now been revolved around that axis. Let's now look at a few ways that we can manipulate the Revolve tool. Up on the top left of your toolbar are a few options to choose from. For example, in the Revolve As section, you can see we can revolve this rectangle as either a solid or a surface. Currently, this revolve is being created as a solid, and you can see that by pressing OK. A solid is color-coded as grey. I'm just going to very quickly change this to shading with edges. I find that easier for me. However, if we go back to the model tree, right click and edit definition to go back to the settings here, and we now change that to surface, and OK, you'll see that the part now is blue. This means that this part is no longer solid and it is made up of surfaces. Let's go back and edit definition again. One of the things you'll notice about this revolve is that it has completed a full 360 revolve. We can define the angle of revolution in two ways. One, we click and hold the handle here and move that around as such. And two, we can go up to the toolbar here and enter the angle ourselves. 360 being full circle, 180. We can add a minus before the 180 to flip that, as you can see. By having this revolve split in half, as you can see here, it's easy to tell the difference between a solid part and a surface. Obviously you can see that this part is hollow. If I was to go back to the Revolve As section in the toolbar and click solid, that now solidifies. Let's press OK. If at any point I wanted to edit the shape that is being revolved, again, it's very simple. I just go back into the Revolve tree, I go to section, and I edit that definition, and now I'm back into sketch mode. Let's say I want to just delete this entirely and change it to a circle. Okay, draw a circle here, and OK, and you'll see that the revolve has changed from a rectangle to a circle. Let's say, for example, I wanted the end of my revolve to snap to a plane. How can we do this? Well, let's go back into the edit definition. What I want to do is have this end of this revolve snap to this top plane. The way I'm going to do this is I'm going to go to this drop-down menu in the toolbar, click on this option here, which is revolve up to selected surface, vertex, plane or point, Click that, and now I need to define which plane or surface that this revolve is going to snap to. Click this top here, and you'll see that that revolve now snaps to this plane. Let's accept that. Okay, I'm just going to delete this. I'm going to show you a few other things that we can do with the Revolve tool. Just go to standard orientation. So a revolve doesn't always have to revolve around an axis. What if I wanted it to revolve around an edge? A very simple way to look at this is if I create a rectangle. Yeah, that's fine. Simple extrude. Okay. Now I'm going to again sketch on this surface here. Let's just draw a circle there. Now with that sketch selected, choose the Revolve tool, and under the Placement tab, I need to choose an axis by which this sketch is going to revolve around. Click that, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this edge here, and you'll see that this revolve now revolves around this edge. That edge is now acting as the axis. Tick. Now if I wanted to edit this in any way, I'd go back, edit definition, and this revolve I can manually revolve around this axis however I wish by pulling on this handle. I can enter a dimension here. Let's have a look at some of the other ways we can edit this. So for example, 1, I'm pulling this end of the revolve, but what if I wanted to pull this end as well? I could go into the Options tab here, side 2, select that as variable, and now I can choose both of these to pull at my leisure. If I wanted, I could have one or both of these edges snapping to a particular surface. For example, side 2, let's choose this as to selected, and I'm going to choose this surface here. And you'll see that this edge is now snapped to this surface. If I wanted to, I could have this revolve symmetrical from the first sketch. To do this, again, in the Options tab, side 1, let's just go for symmetric, and you'll see that I can now drag this, and the revolve will be symmetrical around the sketch. Let's change this to surface and accept. Again, see the difference between a solid part and a surface. Solid is shaded in grey, a surface is shaded in blue. Let's say I want to thicken this particular revolve, and this will apply to any surface that you create. First of all, I'm going to select this revolve from the model tree. And what you'll notice is that in the Editing tab in the toolbar, quite a few of these options have now become available to us. The Thicken tool is here on the right. Let's select that. And now you'll see that this surfaced revolve has a thickness to it. This thickness is currently in the direction of this arrow. You can change that if you wish with the arrow here, or you can go up to the toolbar and you can click on this button here to flip, or make it symmetrical, like that. You can then simply edit the dimension of that thickness here, or drag the handles down here. You could also, if you wanted to, fill this material or remove this material. So as you can see, the fill option creates this part here, but if I was to remove this, it would remove this thickened section from this rectangle, as you can see here. I'm just going to reorientate this view. Okay, let's go back to fill and let's change that thickness to 5. Okay, thanks for watching everyone. I will see you in the next lesson.